everyone. Welcome to Cass Unscripted. I think that's going to be the name. Oliver's joining us. This is my cat, Oliver. This is my first episode. This is my intro episode. I'm going to be introducing myself and kind of introducing the podcast and just explaining what we're going to be talking about here. So I'm a nail tech. I have been a nail tech for about 3.5 years now. I live in Houston, Texas, and I have been doing TikTok and Instagram for quite some time, and I've had some good success on TikTok, but I really wanted a more long form version where I can connect more with my followers and my viewers, because I have a lot of people who follow me that want to know more about the behind the scenes of running a business and becoming a nail tech and just being in the industry in general. Not even just people in the industry. I also want to have just like casual conversations about pop culture and stuff that's going on in the world, my life, interesting stories I have to tell. Like, I don't know. I don't really have any specific layout for what I want this podcast to be. As of right now, I just kind of want to see where it goes and see what's received well and just kind of play around with it. I definitely do want this to be a very casual thing. I'm in like my sweatpants right now. I've got like my blanket. Like, I want it to be very chill, very comfy vibes. I want this to feel like we're having a conversation, like we're sitting here together. You know what I mean? And I want that to be the same thing for when I have guests as well. At this point in time, I have already recorded a few episodes of my podcast with other guests. This video in particular, like I said, I'm just going to be like introducing myself. It's going to be like in the form of a Q&A. I had posted a Q&A on my story on Instagram, and I asked my followers to send me questions that they have, things they want to know about me, my life, my job, all the things. I am going to get into more like nail specific content, like how to do things, like tutorials, stuff like that. That is all going to be on my YouTube channel, which my podcast will also be posted on my YouTube channel. You'll be able to find me on all of the normal podcasting platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and whatnot. This will be its own segment on my YouTube channel, but the other videos I do on YouTube will be more nail focused and more like in-depth tutorials and product reviews, things like that. So that's like my introduction to y'all for all of the long form content I plan to get into. I have only been doing short form for quite some time now, so I'm really excited to be dipping my toes into the long form world. I will say so far it's been really hard to juggle doing it time-wise. I'm not gonna lie. So bear with me in terms of like how often I am able to upload these longer videos. Editing is a very long process, so it's kind of hard to balance that while also doing my normal everyday full-time job. I'm a very outspoken person. I'm very opinionated, and I'm going to reflect those qualities in my podcast. I don't plan to make this a very professional, like, yes, it is professional, but like professional to a degree. I don't want this to be super like formal. I have a lot of topics that I already have kind of written down and thought about going back to like my upbringing, my childhood, like my high school years. There's a lot of things I would like to talk about. I've had a lot of really crazy experiences in my life that I feel like people could resonate with and relate to, or that are just straight up entertaining. So I want to talk about things like that eventually. We'll get there. I do also want to mention that I plan to have a lot of guests on this podcast. I actually have already had my first guest on. It was Mads Lewis, which a lot of y'all have probably already seen on my Instagram when I posted about it when we filmed together. We filmed about a week ago. She was lovely. So amazing. We got along great. She was awesome. The podcast was great. I think the episode is going to be received really well. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about her journey with social media and her tips and advice for people wanting to get into social media, which I will say for a first guest, I was kind of like really shooting for the stars with that one. Like, that was quite the fucking first guest to have on, but it went great. It went so good. I was like so nervous going into it, but it went amazing. I did get a question on Instagram, which I'm going to go ahead and answer now while I'm mentioning this. Someone asked me how I got a hold of her to do her nails and to do all of that. I did not reach out to her. She reached out to me about like 6 months ago. It was quite a while ago, wanting me to do her nails. We had talked about it a little bit, and then that same day she messaged me, she got engaged. So then she had messaged me later that day and was like, actually, like, I want to save it for my wedding nails. So we were going to wait for her wedding in May, which is coming up. When I decided I was going to do this podcast, I messaged her and I was like, hey girl, like, I know we're going to plan to do your nails in May, but I do want to do, first of all, a trial run with her nails because they're wedding nails. We want to make sure we know exactly what she wants. So I was already planning on doing that, but I was like, would you be willing to do a podcast episode with me as well? And that's how I got her to do that with me. But as for the nails, she reached out to me. I think she found me through TikTok, if I'm not mistaken, but I did have somebody ask me how that came about happening. So I wanted to answer that question. A lot of these kind of fall under the same category. So I'm going to kind of like tell y'all the questions there are and then just give you like an umbrella answer in a way. First question, which is one of the more broad ones, what made you want to do cosmetology? And then some other questions I got that kind of fall under the same category, or what made you think you want to do nails professionally, and how did you get started in nails? Kind of just as a whole, how I got into this industry in general, and then I'll get to the nails specifically. When I graduated high school, which was now almost 4 years ago, which is fucking crazy. When I graduated high school, I decided that I was going to be going to community college. I wanted a side hustle. I'm currently in a treehouse, by the way. I work out of a treehouse. It's a treehouse in my childhood home backyard where I still live. It's a full functioning treehouse. I have air conditioning, all the things. Like, it's not your typical treehouse. It's basically like a house with a staircase, essentially. My dad had this built for me and my sister as kind of like a playhouse when I was in like 7th grade, and it's gone through a lot of phases. It was like her slime room for a while. She used to make slime in here a lot. And then it was like me and my friends like party room in high school, obviously. And then after high school, we all graduated and everyone left, and I didn't really have a purpose for this room anymore. And I was like, okay, like what the hell could I do with this to like make some money? I already had a job. At the time, I worked at my dad's restaurant, Bill's Cafe. We own that in Kingwood, Texas. And I worked there for all of high school, post high school as well, but I wanted a side hustle. So I decided to start spray tanning. It all started with spray tanning. That's how I got in the industry as a whole. I didn't realize that at home nail techs and lash techs and estheticians and so I did not know that was a thing. I don't know why that never dawned on me. Like, I just didn't realize it. And then it started popping up on my TikTok and my Instagram and stuff. And I was like, okay, like I could do that too. So that's when I decided to go to cosmetology school. I actually did it online because the COVID mandate was still happening. So they still offered online courses. I did have some questions about where I went to school and things like that. And I'll get there in a little bit, but that's how that started. First, I got into lashing. That was like the first thing I did after spray tanning. Then I got into brows, and then I got into nails. Nails was like the last thing I got into. And it was not the thing that I thought was going to be my niche at all, actually. I thought lashing was going to be my thing. God, was I wrong. I will never pick up another eyelash again. I hated lashing. I did it for quite some time, and I actually didn't stop doing it until very recently. Shout out to the lash techs out there. Y'all are brave. That shit is so fucking boring and monotonous. I could not do it anymore. It also killed my back. And like doing nails also kills my back, but not as bad because in lashing, you're sitting in the same position the whole time. With nails, I'm like moving around, I'm doing things, I'm grabbing things. You know what I mean? Anyway, getting off topic. This is also why I started the podcast. I can fucking yap, you guys. Like, if you're one of my clients watching, you know I can fucking talk my mouth off. Like, I can yap like no other. I also cuss a lot, and I don't plan to filter that. So my apologies. Honestly, I'm not going to apologize. That's just how I choose to speak, and I don't need to apologize for it. Anyways, that's essentially how I got into the cosmetology industry and the nail industry. Okay, next is how long have you been doing nails, and how did you know you loved doing it? So I have been doing nails now for about 3.5 years. I've been in the industry as a whole for about 4 years. Fuck. Actually, my timeline might be wrong, you guys. I'm going to be honest. I have a really bad memory. How did I know I loved doing it? I'm going to be honest. I didn't know I really liked doing nails until I got good at doing nails. And at first I was not good at doing nails. I mean, obviously no one's great at something when they first start. Like, it takes time. And like, I hate to be that bitch that says like, oh, I didn't know I loved doing something until I was good at it. But like, I'm going to be real. I don't like doing shit I'm bad at. Like, I'm not that type of person. Like, you're not going to catch me doing something I am not good at doing. I am a very big perfectionist. Like, I have to be good at what I'm doing. But yeah, it took me, I want to say about a year and a half into it. And that's when things kind of started taking off for me on social media, and I started gaining some more traction. That's when I realized I was like, okay, I'm actually kind of good at this. And I actually think I enjoy doing this way more than the other things that I'm doing. And then slowly that started to become the only thing I was doing. I barely had lash clients anymore, brow client, whatever. All of those things were like very rarely sprinkled in. But yeah, now I strictly do nails. I actually have fully quit doing everything else. I don't offer spray tanning, brows, or lashes anymore. I love it. It burns me out a lot. I'm going to be really honest. And I'm sure other nail techs out there and other people in the industry in general can relate. Doing things in the cosmetology industry can get very exhausting, especially when you're doing it solo. I want to talk more about that in like future episodes and things, but burnout is a very real thing. But I do love it. I love my job. Okay, this was the next one. What was your experience with cosmetology school and getting your license? I had a horrible experience, okay? I feel like most people actually actually have a horrible experience. This is a very common thing. I have a lot of clients and a lot of friends that are also in the industry, and it's a very, very common thing that people hated cosmetology school. I'm not even going to say where I went to cosmetology school because I'm not going to give them the promo. They were so bad. And I also did it online, like I said, which I think that definitely played a part into why I had such a bad experience, because I wasn't going in person and I definitely wasn't being taught all of the things that I should have been taught. My school was just a fucking mess, you guys. Like, we had different instructors every week because people were getting fired or quitting or leaving or this or that. Like, it was a nightmare. And part of the way through school, like about several months in, TDLR fully switched up the way that we're awarded our credit hours, and it like really fucked me and other students like bad. And we just kind of had to take it and deal with it. I'll probably talk more about that one day too. That whole situation was insane. Honestly, everything that I do in my job currently, I taught myself. I've learned all of this from like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. They taught us like the very basics of what we needed to know for state board, and that was quite literally it. And I never used any of that information. I also have a cosmetology license. I don't have just a nail technician's license. Since I was doing lashing and aesthetics at the time as well, I had to get a license that encompassed all of those things. If I had just gotten a nail technician's license, I wouldn't have been licensed to do lashing or any of that type of stuff, and vice versa. So I had to do cosmetology, which was really fucking annoying for me because in cosmetology school, yes, you're technically licensed to do all of those things. However, the only thing they actually focus on teaching you is hair. And I had no fucking desire to do hair, which is a big part of why I had a terrible, terrible cosmetology school experience, because it was nothing I had any desire to be learning. I don't know, but I hated cosmetology school. However, in the state of Texas, it is legally required. I got the license, I got it out of the way, and now I never have to worry about it again. Next question. What are some hobbies and interests outside of doing nails? Did you go to / are you in college? Hobbies / interests. I have no time for any hobbies or interests. For a little while, I was going to an adult tumbling class because I miss cheerleading so fucking much. Oh my God. I ended up quitting that because there were some really creepy men that started working there, and it was a whole ordeal. Not even gonna get into that right now. Maybe I will one day though. That was like one hobby I had that I'm no longer doing. I have a really, really bad work-life balance, and I am in college. So that was the other part of the question. Balancing college and then like my day-to-day job on top of social media and on top of just my regular day-to-day things like showering, cleaning, taking care of my pets. Like, oh, I will say, I think a hobby I have, this could count as a hobby. It's not a hobby I choose to have, but it's a hobby that fell into my lap and I don't have a choice but to do. We have 16 pets. I wish that was a fucking joke. I wish I was like being dramatic or exaggerative. We have 16 pets and I pretty much single-handedly take care of them for the most part. I get some help from my dad, barely any from my sister, but it's exhausting. Like, I love my pets, okay? But holy fuck, I am at my wit's end with that. I could rant about that for hours, actually. I would consider that a hobby. Just the pets themselves take up so much of my fucking time and money. It's insane. We have 11 cats, we have 3 dogs, and then I have a rabbit. But out of all of those pets, the only ones that are strictly mine is this cat, Oliver, and then I have a bunny named Buns, and the other ones are all family pets that I just somehow ended up having to take care of. But no, I don't really have any other hobbies or interests other than like cheerleading. I feel like that's about it. As for college, I'm getting my degree in entrepreneurship. I'm currently at the C.T. Bauer College of Business at U of H, which is the University of Houston. The name of the business school is a mouthful. I hope I said that right. I started at Lone Star when I graduated, which is our local community college, and I did that for 2 years. Originally, I was going to school for criminal justice. I actually was going to go to the FBI after graduating high school. Well, not after graduating high school, after graduating college. Sorry. That was my plan for quite some time. I literally went to the FBI Teen Academy the summer after I graduated. I did that. Like, I had to apply for that and everything. It was a whole ordeal. I was going to school for criminal justice, and that's when I started the whole spray tanning side hustle thing. And then that like just slowly all became Beauty by Cass. And now here we are. After about a year, I switched my major to business and I finished my associates in that, which did put me behind schedule, which is really annoying, but it's not a race. I have no rush to get this degree, but I am going to be graduating like significantly later than I'm supposed to be. I will say school is like my hobby though. Oliver's being vocal. That's like my little side quest is like college. Like, I know that's not how it's supposed to be, but my business is the forefront of my life and that is like my baby. That's what I spend the most time and effort on. So school for me is kind of just like something I do on the side, but I'm getting it done and I'm doing well at least. Actually, this semester, I'm not doing that good. This is the first semester I've struggled the entire time I've been in college, but I'm getting through it nonetheless. I'm still at least passing. Next question is, do you have any big business plans / what's your goal with doing beauty? Well, I guess it's now technically just nails, not beauty. At the time that I got these questions, I was still doing other services, but my goals have changed a lot. They've evolved a ton. They've switched around a lot since I started this. At one point, I really wanted to be an educator, and I still do want to get into educating, but I think I want to get into educating a little bit later down the line, doing like classes and courses and things like that. I'm not sure though. I really haven't decided. My current goal is going to be to really grow on social media and growing my YouTube channel and my podcast and things like that. That's one of my bigger plans. I also want to work on more fun projects with like influencers and celebrities and things like that, possibly for like fashion shows. I really don't know though. There's like so many different ways I could go, and it's really just a matter of where time takes me. You know what I mean? I want to travel and teach and maybe start a nail line. I'm not sure, but I definitely do want to grow my social media more and make that a bigger part of my business as well. Okay, next we have most difficult part of learning to do nails. Honestly, the basics. The nail art and everything comes with time. The trends change so often that like as quickly as you master a trend anyway, like it disappears. So it's kind of hard to like keep up with getting good at things like that, but it's the basics that are hard because you do have to master those things in order to get to the fun things anyway. Your application and all of that really matters. Your prep really matters. You got to get good at those. You have to be good at the basics of things in order for the more complex parts of it later on down the line to turn out looking good as well. So definitely the most difficult part was that, just trying to like really get down like Gel X application properly. People talk so much shit about like, oh, it's literally just a glorified press on. It's so easy, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. It took me fucking forever to get good application with Gel X, okay? It's something that yes, anyone can pop on and do, but can everyone do it well? No. It's a lot harder than it looks to get like the right amount of gel, to do it to where it's not flooding anything, to where the application is crisp and seamless, and to where you're gonna have good retention. That's the other part that makes a really big difference. I would say that's the most difficult part, is all of the basic stuff. Next question is, do you have an artsy background? This is actually a funny question. I get this a lot. No. I will say I have a background in arts in general. Like growing up, I was a singer, I did acting, I was in theater, I was in dance, I did cheerleading, very artsy things, but never necessarily art. I really hated painting. I hated doing things like that, unless it was for fun or something like that. But even then, it wasn't really something I particularly loved and did often. I wasn't horrible at it, but I also wasn't great. Nails just kind of clicked with me. I don't really know. When I started nails, I told myself, I'm just going to be a very simple nail artist. This is just going to be like kind of an add-on to like lashes and stuff so that I could do combo appointments, and I'll just do very basic one color things. I told myself I would never be one to get into like crazy nail art and all of that kind of stuff. And here we are. It ended up being a lot easier for me than I thought it would. And now I love it. So next is, how did you grow on TikTok? Okay, this is a loaded question because there's a lot of factors that play into this. I personally grew on TikTok because of one video that I posted about 2.5 years ago. I was doing my little cousin's nails. She was like 15 at the time or something like that. They were for Valentine's Day. I posted this like nail with me on TikTok. This was, of course, before I blew up, okay? This is what blew me up. There were so many haters in this fucking comment section hating on the shape of the nails. Like the fact that it was a short almond. People were pissed and thought that it was the ugliest shit ever. I didn't really give a fuck because it blew my shit up. My views skyrocketed, guys. And then by the time that the views skyrocketed from the hate, there were so many people like filtering out the hate comments that like those you couldn't even find anymore because people were like clapping back at those, being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, it's nails. Because seriously, it's nails. Like, why are we hating on nails? That's a crazy concept. Who the fuck has time to make a hate comment about a set of fucking nails? But anyway, that's how I blew up originally. But to really like grow on TikTok, it takes consistency, first of all. And I know this is a controversial take, but quality fucking matters. If you are posting half blurry, half out of focus, half out of frame content that has no educational purposes, it's not doing anything for the viewer, all of those things matter with content, especially in this realm, because aesthetics and like the looks of things are very important. Like the whole main reason people typically watch nail videos is because it's aesthetically pleasing and it's nice to watch. So if your content's not nice and satisfying to watch, people won't want to watch that. Y'all have to be posting quality content in order to grow. But yeah, I would say that's my biggest advice for growing on TikTok. Next question, would you ever want to buy your own space and train people to work for you? I have thought about this. This is something I would definitely be willing to do in the far future because buying any type of space, even renting, is incredibly expensive. And it's also nerve-wracking to like hire people under you because I don't know, I have really bad trust issues and I'm like super paranoid. So I get like really nervous that I would get like fucked over by someone or like some crazy shit would happen. So I don't know. I also for now want to keep my business very just personal and just with me. I haven't outsourced really at all with anything yet, but I would consider that in like the far, far future. Have you ever had a situation that made you rethink your career path? Honestly, I haven't had too many crazy situations with clients or anything like that that have like truly made me rethink doing this. I will say the one thing that has made me rethink doing this, which isn't necessarily a situation, but just once I realized how much work actually goes into being self-employed and doing all of this on your own, that kind of made me rethink. We're sticking with it. It's too late now. We're in too deep. But that was definitely something like when I realized how hard time management is with this type of a job, especially while being a college student. That has definitely made me rethink doing this quite a few times. But overall, I wouldn't want to be doing anything else, you know. Favorite thing about doing nails, I like the creativity of it. I like getting to do something different in every appointment. That was the thing with like lashing and stuff that just got so boring, was like the same shit all the time. But with nails, you have such a big realm and the trends are constantly changing, which can get frustrating to keep up with, don't get me wrong. But at least it keeps things interesting. I definitely do love that. I love when my clients are like very happy and they're pleased with how their nails came out and like making them feel confident. I love that. I love when my clients have a good reaction to like the finished nail set. That is my favorite thing in the world. When I finish and they're like, oh my God, like I'm obsessed, like da 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 da. That validation feels so good every single time. And then I got two other questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years and where do you see yourself in 10 years? For the more short-term one, in 5 years, I hope that I've lived more of my life. I was in a very long-term relationship for the past 4 years of my life and I recently got out of that relationship. It just made me, like getting perspective from it, made me realize how much I need to be living right now, doing fun career things, doing fun trips, going to see my friends. Like I know this isn't very career oriented necessarily, which it is a little bit, but I hope in 5 years that I have lived more. And that also includes with business stuff. I want to do more travel work. I want to go see more places. I want to step out of my comfort zone more often. That's where I hope I am in 5 years. A little more free spirited, if you will. 10 years, I honestly don't know. If I want children, I would hope in 10 years, that's when I would have them. If I had kids, I would probably adopt. And if I did adopt, I would probably want to do it before I'm 35. So 10 years from now would be pretty ideal in terms of having kids. And I just hope that my business has really established itself at that point. I hope that I no longer have to like grind super hard to like keep things moving. You know what I mean? I'm in that era of my life right now where I'm just having to work really, really hard to keep the momentum going. Because if I slow down, everything stops, you know? That's the shitty part about being in this industry when you're working solo, is that your finances, your career, your life, everything is dependent on you. I want to be more relaxed at that point in my life and just enjoying myself. I would say that's the goal for 10 years from now. Someone asked, do you provide nail classes? I do not. Eventually, I hope to, but at the moment, it's just not feasible timing wise. And I know if I were to do it right now, it would just be very rushed. And when I do get into educating, I want to make sure I take my time and like really slow down and make sure I'm like getting all the information out there that I want to be out there. So not quite yet, but one day. I got a question, how to get in collaboration with big nail brands. So you kind of just wait for them to come to you. That's how I did it. I just one day got an email from Opre and that was it. They asked me to collaborate with them, and every other brand deal I've gotten since then has been a brand reaching out to me. I know there are some people that I think that do like send cold emails to brands and like ask to do work for them. You can always pitch yourself that way. But I personally don't have much information on doing that because I haven't. I have two more. One is, what inspired you? First of all, seeing all the other people who were successful in this industry on social media, just seeing all of the amazing women that have like done this shit for themselves is so inspiring to me. I follow so many amazing women that are also in this space, whether it be in hair or lashing or nails, all of the above. Entrepreneurial women. Entrepreneur, is that how you say that? Entrepreneurial? Whatever. Entrepreneurial women in general inspired the fuck out of me. Last one, and this is a good one. My friend Trinity actually asked this question. Miss you, girl. I haven't seen her since high school. What does being an entrepreneur mean to you, especially as a woman? I do love the fact that I have a platform and a voice, and I get to speak to other women, and I get to help other women and relate to other women. It's very special, and I don't take it lightly. I'm very, very grateful that I get to be someone that other women can look up to and learn from. And I really hope that I can serve as inspiration for other women to start their own businesses and to put themselves out there to do the thing that they've been thinking about doing. I hope I can serve that purpose for someone, because I know there were so many women that I looked up to and that inspired me. That is the end of our questions, you guys. That's pretty much everything that I have for y'all today. I'm so excited to see where this podcast goes and to see where the YouTube channel goes. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed my first episode. This was so fun chatting with you guys. Again, I still don't know if we're going to be Chats with Cass or Cass Unscripted, but I really think it's going to be Cass Unscripted. I don't know. Cass Unscripted got the least amount of votes, but like, I am so hard-headed. I don't know. That one is just speaking to me, and I feel like I have to do it. Anyways, obviously when you're watching this, you're going to know what it is. That is all for today, though. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to follow me on all of my other platforms, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you're not watching this. And I will see you guys in the next episode.